Hi everyone, Michael Cavacini here with my second Saw series video. So I'm revisiting all of the Saw movies and sharing my thoughts with you, and I would love for you to share your thoughts with me. So first off, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below with your thoughts on the Saw franchise in general, Saw 2, whatever you want to share. Do so down below. I would love to just discuss this with you in greater detail. So let's dive in here. Saw 2 is an excellent but brutal movie. It sets the formula for the sequels that follow, and it dials up the gruesome horror from the first film to an extremely high level. Behind the camera is Darren Lynn Bowsman, the same man who directed Saw, or Spiral. So let's dive into my thoughts on Saw 2. In Saw 2, Johnny Wahlberg portrays a detective whose son is captured inside a house with 8 other people. With a poisonous gas being pumped into the dwelling, they have 2 hours to find a way out. In a wonderful article written by Bowsman in a recent issue of Fangoria, he explains how he came up with the idea for Jigsaw to be captured within the first few minutes of the film, which is a bold move. His reasoning behind this is because it forces the audience to wonder how Jigsaw could still pull his strings from within captivity, and it provides the opportunity for extensive character development. We get to know this evil mastermind on a deeper level, and it allows Tobin Bell to shine like he only can. Or like only he can. I mean, come on, Tobin Bell is spectacular. With his soft-spoken and psychotic delivery, Jigsaw conjures up visions of Jake the Snake Roberts cutting a devious promo on one of his myriad opponents during his glory days of the WWF. My favorite piece of dialogue wound up being the tagline for the movie. "Oh yes, there will be blood." Right before saying this amazing one-liner, Jigsaw cracks this big smile talking about the detective's son. Bowsman did a wonderful job with this movie. I especially enjoy his inventive transitions from scene to scene, and he knows how to amp up the intensity of the most uncomfortable scenes to push the audience's buttons. This movie isn't supposed to make us feel safe, and it sure doesn't. We're supposed to squirm around in our seats, shocked by the depravity. Similar to the slashers of the 1980s, this caused other filmmakers to try and one-up each other when it came to placing protagonists in distressing and violent situations, resulting in the label torture porn being applied to the Saw movies and others in the horror genre. This movie takes the traps from the first one to another level, and it creates the formula for future sequels. Place a group of people who don't value their lives in a location, leave some traps behind for them to play, leave behind some tapes behind for them to play, place them under a time limit to play by the rules of the game, and lay out traps before them that they must get through to survive. It's effective, and since this is the first film in the series to employ this approach on such a grand scale, it's fresh and new at this point. The best part of this movie, like the first one, is the ending. The climax involves this scenery from the first Saw, which is great fan service, and there's a montage explaining the reality of the situation, with flashbacks to help connect the dots. Charlie Clouser's epic Saw theme plays over top these moments as the viewer realizes what's happening. There are multiple twists, and all of them are delightful, especially when you consider how, if the detective had simply followed the literal advice of Jigsaw, so much bloodshed could have been avoided. But then we wouldn't have had a film. While it's not essential, the Saw movies are best watched in order. If you watch the first, check this one out too. It expands on the story of Jigsaw from the first movie while introducing new elements, creating a visceral experience that is both shocking and satisfying. Saw 2 is really one of the greatest stories in the Saw franchise. The twist, like the big twist, is friggin' phenomenal. I mean, it's so good. What are your thoughts on Saw 2? Do you love it as much as I do? And where do you think it ranks among all the other movies? Is it better than Saw 1? What are your thoughts on Saw 2? Feel free to comment down below. Let me know. Again, like, subscribe, and visit my website, Michael Cavacini, for even more great content. Looking forward to talking to you about all things Saw. Stay tuned for my video on Saw 3.